Hari Om. Pranams at the lotus feet of Pujya Gurudev, Pujya Swami Brahmananda, Pujya Swami Aparajitananda and all elders. We will start the evening's proceedings with a bhajan by Kumari Vasunita. Hari Om.
आज सखी सद्गुरु घर आए, मेरे मन आनंद भयो रे। आज सखी, आज सखी, आज सखी। दर्शन से सब पाप विनाशे, दर्शन से सब पाप विनाशे, दुख दरिद्र सब दूर गयो रे। अमृत वचन सुनत तम नाशो, अमृत वचन सुनत तम नाशो। घट भीतर प्रभु पाय लियो रे। आज सखी सद्गुरु घर आए, मेरे मन आनंद भयो रे। आज सखी, आज सखी, आज सखी। जन्म जन्म के संशय टूटे, जन्म जन्म के संशय टूटे, भव भय ताप मिटाय गयो रे। ब्रह्मानंद दास दासन को, ब्रह्मानंद दास दासन को, चरण कमल लिपटाय रख्यो रे। आज सखी सद्गुरु घर आए, मेरे मन आनंद भयो रे। आज सखी, आज सखी, आज सखी। Hari Om.
Thank you, Vasunita. The month of August is very holy for Chinmaya devotees. Pujya Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda attained Mahasamadhi on 3rd August 1993 and the day is observed as Sadhana Day all over the world. In Karnataka, under Pujya Swami Brahmananda, Mahasamadhi celebrations are usually observed by conducting Jnana Yajna, so dear to Pujya Gurudev. This time, even amidst the existing peculiar situation, we yesterday had an online Rudrabhisheka, Paduka Puja and Satsang by Pujya Swami Brahmananda. From today till 10th August, we will be having online Geeta Jnana Yajna in English by our Mangalore Acharya, Pujya Swami Aparajitananda, daily between 6:30 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. The topic Pujya Swamiji has chosen is very unique. Assurances given by the Lord in Bhagavadgeeta. Pujya Swamiji is well known for his power-packed presentation of the philosophical concepts in a language that can be understood by sadhaks of all age groups. His discourses are awaited with eagerness for their sheer depth and understanding as Pujya Swamiji drives home the points with down-to-earth examples that one can connect with their own living. We are all indeed blessed to be able to listen to the essence of Bhagavad-Geeta during the next 7 days, from a master who besides preaching the Bhagavad-Geeta is living the very Krishna way of life. I now hand over the stage to Pujya Swamiji and request him to bless us with his thoughts. Hari Om.
ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः Hari Om one and all. August 3 is a very special day for all the members of Chinmaya Mission, because this is the day when Pujya Gurudev Swami Chinmayanji has attained Mahasamadhi. So all over the world, we celebrate this occasion with various functions. Pujya Gurudev dedicated his life spreading the message of the scriptures, especially the message of Bhagavadgeeta, because he found that all the problems which the mankind faces, for all those problems, there are clear-cut solutions in Bhagavad-Gita. So Pujya Gurudev took it as a mission of life, spread the message of Gita. So on this occasion, what is the best sadhana we can do? On this auspicious occasion, the best thing we can do is to reflect upon Bhagavad Gita. It is the text which was dearmost to Pujya Gurudev. So in this regard, Pujya Swami Brahmananji has requested us to reflect Gita, and he has given a topic also. The topic is assurances given by the Lord in Bhagavad Gita. So starting from today, for the next 7 days, we will be discussing on this topic. Assurances given by the Lord, Bhagavad Gita. Before entering into the topic, let us understand what this assurance is. An assurance means a statement of promise, promising statement. These promises instill in us courage, confidence, strength, solace, and inspires us to fight the challenges of life. So before entering into a detailed discussion about these assurances, let us see some of the famous ones in Bhagavad Gita. There are so many, but a few of them we can now just see the meaning. Some of these assurances are as follows. Ananyas chintayanto mam yajna paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyam. Bhagavan says, Bhagavan promises. What does he promise? Bhagavan says, Ananyas chintayanto mam, those people who with ananya chinta, single pointedness of mind, those people who worship me, jana paryupasate, for such people, tesham nityabhiyuktanam, who are ever one with me through their mind, through their single pointedness of mind. Bhagavan says, Bhagavan promises, yoga kshemam vahamyaham. I will take care of their yoga and kshema, meaning I will take care of the welfare and well-being of such devotees. Now, this is a promise. This is an assurance. Yoga kshemam vahamyaham. Very famous word. Another one is Apichet suduracharah bhajate mam ananya bhag sadhureva samantavyah samyak vyavasito hi saha क्षिप्रम भवति धर्मात्मा शश्वत शांतिम निगच्छति कौन्तेय प्रतिजानीहि न मे भक्तः नश्यति. Bhagavan says, Arjuna, even if apichet suduracharah, a person who is a sudurachari, a rank criminal, who has committed all kinds of sins, all kinds of possible sins in his life, even if such a person, even if such a hopeless case, even if such a person, bhajate mam ananya bhag, if he worships me, sadhureva samantavyah, such a person has to be considered a sadhu, a saintly person, because samyak vyavasito hi saha, he has taken the right decision in life. And what will happen because of this decision? Kshipram bhavati dharmatma, in a very, in a short time, that person will become a dharmatma, an embodiment of righteousness. Shashvat shantim nigacchati, and he will attain supreme abiding peace. Therefore, Kaunteya, O Arjuna, Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranay. Know for certain that my devotees shall never perish. So this is another assurance. My devotee shall never perish. I will always take care of my devotee. Another one. Daivi hesha gunamai mama maya duratyaya mameva ye prapadyante mayametam tarantite. Arjuna, this maya of mine, Daivi maya, gunamai maya, this divine maya of mine, this maya made of three gunas, Duratyaya, Arjuna, it is impossible to cross over. It is impossible to cross over this Maya. It is impossible to cross over this cycle of births and deaths. But there is an exception. What is the exception? Mameva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. Those people who surrender to me alone. Mam eva. Those who surrender unto me, those who take refuge in me, Maya metam te taranti. Those people, they cross over this Maya. Assurance. Will definitely cross over this Maya. Another one, famous one. Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma suchaha. Arjuna, completely surrender unto me, giving up all other priorities in life. Then, aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami, I will free you from all sins. Ma shuchaha, don't grieve. I guarantee you, I promise you that I will free you from all kinds of sins which you have committed in the past. Another one. Machitta sarva durgani mat prasadat tarishyasi. Arjuna, fix your mind in me. Then sarva durgani mat prasadat tarishyasi. You will be able to overcome all obstacles and difficulties in life. Whatever be the difficulties or challenges or obstacles you are facing in life, by fixing your mind upon me, you will be able to overcome all of them by my grace. I promise you that I will deliver you from all difficulty. I will help you cross over all difficulties of life. It is my promise. Then another one. Teshamaham samudharta mrityu samsara sagarat bhavami nachirat partha mai aveshita chetasam. Those people, those devotees who are mai aveshita chetasam, those who have fixed their mind upon me. What does Bhagavan say? Tesham aham samudharta bhavami. I become their uplifter. I uplift them from what? Mrityu samsara sagarat. From the samsara sagara characterized by mrityu, this world of change. I uplift them, meaning I liberate them from this cycle of birth and death. This is my promise. Another one. Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram yaf prayati samadbhavam yati nastyatra samshayah. Those people, those devotees, antakale, at the time of death, those devotees who remember me at the time of death and then leaves the body, those devotees who leave the body, remembering me at the time of death, what will happen to them? Sa madbhavam yati. Those devotees attain to my nature. Nastyatra samshayah. There is no doubt about this. They become one with me. At the time of death, those devotees who are able to fix their mind upon me, those devotees will definitely reach me. There is no doubt about it. It's a guarantee. Assurance. Then another one. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mamai vaishyasi yuktvaivam atmanam matparayanaha. Arjuna, manmana bhava, fix your mind in me. Madbhakto bhava, be my devotee. Madhyaji bhava, worship me. Mam namaskuru, bow down to me. Then what will happen? Mamai vaishyasi yuktvaivam atmanam matparayanaha. In this way, keeping me as the supreme goal of life, you will finally come to me alone. Another one. Tameva sharanam gaccha sarva bhavena bharata tat prasadat param shantim anam prapsyasi shashvatam. Tameva sharanam gaccha. You surrender unto that supreme being alone. Sarva bhavena. By your entire personality. By all means, surrender unto that supreme being. Tat prasadat. By his grace. Param shantim prapsyasi. You will attain supreme peace. Shashvatam sthanam prapsyasi. You will attain that eternal abode. So these are some of these assuring statements, the statements of promise given by Bhagavan in Bhagavadgeeta. There are very many other verses also. In all these verses, we find that Bhagavan is ready to give everything to his devotees. Bhagavan is ready to bless devotees with everything, whether it is material prosperity or spiritual evolution. Whether it is peace of mind, whether it is confidence, whether it is courage, whether it is guidance, whether it is liberation. Bhagavan is ready to bless his devotees with everything. But here in this verse, you will find that Bhagavan is able to bless only if there is one particular condition, only if that condition is met. In all these verses, you will find that they are all conditional clauses. You have a condition. So Bhagavan is saying as though, oh my devotees, I am ready to help you, provided from your side you satisfy this condition. Now the question is, what is that condition? That condition is nothing but surrender. Surrender of what? Is it surrender of property or bank balance, etc.? No, it is surrender of ego. So Bhagavan says, if you can do this, if you can surrender your ego, if you can surrender yourself unto me, then I can bless you. and I really want to bless you. But I can bless you only if you, from your side, cooperate with me. Without your cooperation, I will not be able to bless you. And what is this cooperation? Surrender of ego. Now somebody may ask, why is Bhagwan putting this condition? Without this condition also Bhagwan can bless us. Why is Bhagwan asking us? It is as though condition apply. Why Bhagwan is applying this condition? Why can't it be conditionless? Why is he insisting upon this condition? This question may arise in the minds of some of us. So the answer to this is, Bhagwan is helping. Without this condition being satisfied, Bhagwan will not be able to help us. To understand this point clearly, let us take some few examples. Assume that there is somebody drowning in a flowing river. Drowning. And you are seeing this. You want to help that person. You are ready to help that person. You are capable of helping that person also. That person is drowning. So what will you do? You will extend your hand. Now what will you expect from that drowning person to do? You will expect that drowning person to extend his hand. You may extend your hand, but if that person doesn't extend his hand, you will not be able to save him. Though you have the intention to save, you have the ability to save, but that person has to fulfill certain conditions. That person, that drowning person, has to cooperate with you. Only then you will be able to save him. Another example. A person who is sick comes to the doctor. Doctor has diagnosed his condition. The doctor has understood the problem also. This is the disease. So this should be the medicine. These are the do's and don'ts. The whole list is given to the patient, to the sick person. Now, what is the expectation of the doctor from that sick patient? Medicines can be given, but it is the patient who has to ensure that these medicines are taken properly at the proper time, and all these do's and don'ts have to be followed. This is something which the patient has to do. Doctor has a sincere desire to make that sick patient all right, to relieve him of his suffering. But mere desire of the doctor will not do. The patient will have to cooperate with the doctor. Isn't it? Another example. Suppose there is an ignorant person and he wants to gain knowledge in some subject. That knowledgeable person is also there and he is ready to take class also. Now what is the responsibility of this ignorant person? The knowledgeable person may teach. It is the responsibility of the ignorant person to pay attention, listen and gain knowledge. This is something which that teacher cannot do. It is something which the student has to do. The student who is desirous, the teacher may teach, but to imbibe the teaching is the duty of the student. So this is what is expected from a teacher. This is what is expected from a student. The teacher expects this, to pay attention, to listen to these classes and to gain knowledge. This is what the teacher will expect from this. The teacher cannot. So from all these examples, what do we understand? There is something which the giver can give, but at the same time there is something which the receiver has to do in order to receive from the giver. In the same way, Bhagwan is ever ready to bless us He is an embodiment of auspiciousness. He is ever ready to bless us. He is ever concerned about our sufferings. He wants us to be free from all kinds of sufferings. He wants us to be happy, to be peaceful. He is ever ready to bless us. But this blessing, these assurances can work only if from our side we also cooperate with Bhagavan. And how are we supposed to cooperate? Bhagavan says, surrender your ego, that is enough. Surrender unto me. Surrender your ego unto me, that is enough. Then I will be able to work on it. So therefore, this is the one condition which we all have to practice. Surrendering unto Bhagavan. If we are able to surrender, Bhagavan's blessing directly descend upon us. Now a question comes. If we surrender unto the Lord, all blessedness, all auspiciousness come to us. Why is the surrender of ego the most auspicious thing? The moment we surrender our ego, Bhagavan blesses us with everything. So therefore, surrender of the ego is considered to be the most auspicious. Now the question, why is surrender of ego considered most auspicious? So the answer is, surrender of ego is considered to be the most auspicious because ego is the most inauspicious. What is the most inauspicious thing? It is our own ego. So when you surrender your ego, you are destroying your ego, you are sublimating your ego, you are negating your ego, you are making the ego absent. So when you make the most inauspicious thing absent, what remains? Only auspicious thing remains. Since ego is the most inauspicious thing, surrender of ego is thought to be the most auspicious. Now naturally a question will come. Why do you consider ego as the most inauspicious? Why is ego the most inauspicious? So the scriptures say the ego is the most inauspicious because it is this ego in us which prevents us from experiencing our own true nature. Bhagavan is there in our own heart as the very self in us. But why is it that today we are not able to experience this supreme presence in us? We are not able to experience this supreme presence because this ego is preventing us. This ego has installed itself in the heart and therefore it is not allowing Bhagavan to express from the heart. Our heart space has only one seat. It is a single-seated throne. Either the ego can occupy it or Bhagavan can occupy it. So today who is occupying it? The ego is occupying. And therefore, Bhagavan is not experienced by us. So what is our job? Our job is to replace the ego, the Supreme Lord. So why is this ego inauspicious? This ego is inauspicious because we don't experience the divine presence in us, though we are all made in the image of God. This ego is inauspicious because it is because of this ego that we suffer from kama, krodha, raga, dvesha, etc. It is this ego because of which we all become sinners and criminals. All the sins and crimes that we do in our life, it is only because of this ego. It is this ego which deludes us totally and make us caught. It is this ego which traps us this world of birth and death. So in short, the root cause of all suffering in our life is nothing but this ego. This ego is considered the most inauspicious. It is because of this ego that we are the slaves of the mind and slaves of the world. It is because of this ego that we experience only limitations and imperfections. Though infinity is our nature, though immortality is our nature, though absolute bliss is our nature, we are not experiencing our nature only because of this. So therefore, since the root cause of suffering is this ego is considered the most inauspicious. So what is the most auspicious thing? Annihilation of this ego is the most auspicious thing. That is what Bhagavan expects us to do in all this assurance. Annihilation of ego is the most auspicious thing that we can do as jivas. And that's why in Upadesha Saram of Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi says, Ahamapetakam nijavibhanakam mahadidam tapo ramanavagiyam. Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi says, the greatest tapas, what is the greatest tapas one can do? That tapas in which the ego is destroyed, aham apetakam, nijavibhanakam, and that tapas which allows the Supreme Self to shine forth. Such a tapas is considered to be the greatest tapas. With this greatest tapas, what is involved? Destruction of ego is involved. And what happens when ego is destroyed? Ahaminashabhajahamahandaya purati hrutsvayam paramapurnasat. When this ego, this ahamvriti is destroyed, what happens? In its very same place, the real I, the Supreme Self, shines forth. And what is his nature? Parama Purna Sat. Supremely perfect. All full, all complete. The Supreme Self shines forth as Aham, as I. This ahamvriti or ego, once it is destroyed, the real I shines. Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji, Atmabodha gives a beautiful example. He says, just like a patch of cloud is able to cover this mighty sun in the sky. The size of this cloud is very small compared to sun. But this small patch of cloud is capable of hiding the entire sun. Now what we see only this patch of cloud, we don't see the sun. In the same way, this ego as ahamvriti covers the real aham. This example is very interesting because the cloud is born because of sun. Sun takes the water vapor. This water vapor itself becomes this cloud. So who gives birth to this cloud? And this cloud covers the very same sun which has given birth to it. Beautiful example. And now what we see? We don't see the real sun. We see only this patch of cloud, this bright cloud, and we tend to think that it is this cloud which is giving. Sun is absent. Only this food. So in the same way, this ahamvriti covers the aham, the ego covers the Supreme Self and poses itself to be the real self. Now we think that there is nothing called real self, there is only this individual self. So therefore, this ahamvriti or the ego sense has to be destroyed. So the most auspicious thing that which we can do in life is this destruction of one's own ego. And once we destroy our ego, once we surrender unto Bhagavan, the doors of blessedness become wide open. This is all what the scriptures go down to the Supreme Lord. In all our scriptures we find that whenever a devotee has done this down, he has been blessed with his life. auspiciousness starts the day when he has decided to surrender his ego. So therefore, the surrender of ego is given the maximum importance. That is the beginning of blessedness. When did Bhagavad-Gita actually start? If you see, there are 18 chapters. In the first chapter, Bhagavad-Gita doesn't start. First chapter, it is Arjuna who is teaching. He is giving Jnana, knowledge to Krishna. Bhagavan becomes silent. Why? There is no surrender. Then what happens? By the end of first chapter, Arjuna collapses. In his own confusion, he gets totally deluded. He becomes powerless. He becomes helpless to such an extent that literally he falls down, he collapses in the chariot. He is not able to hold that bow properly. And finally comes that beautiful verse, the verse of surrender. What does Arjuna say? Bhagavan shishyasteham shadhimam prapannam. Bhagavan, I completely surrender unto you. Please guide me. Please teach me. Sure? It is this verse which becomes a turning point in Bhagavad Gita. And actually it is from this verse you will find Bhagavan giving the actual knowledge to Arjuna. The knowledge portion of Bhagavad Gita starts only from the 11th chapter, the 11th verse of the second chapter. Bhagavan imparts the knowledge of the self only when Arjuna surrenders. So that surrendering point becomes the auspicious moment of imparting the knowledge. Another beautiful example is that of Vyasa Rishi. Vyasa Rishi also, an avatar. He compiles all the Vedas. He writes Mahabharata also. And it is said in Bhagavatam that he was not happy. He was thinking, where have I gone wrong? And in those moments, he surrenders unto Bhagavan and seeks guidance. It is at that time Narada Rishi comes. And it is Narada Rishi who inspires Vyasa Rishi to compose Bhagavatam. So everywhere you will find that a seeker is in the crossroads, he is confused, he surrenders, and the moment he surrenders, blessing descends. Even in Vyasa Rishi also we find. The same thing happens with Parikshit. He is cursed, only 7 days left. He is cursed to be bitten by Takshaka. Then he requests, he surrenders unto all the Rishi Munis gathered there. What does he say? O saints and sages, please bless me. I have only 7 days more. Please tell me, what am I supposed to do? What should a person who is facing death supposed to do? I bow down to you. It is this surrender of Parikshit which made Shukabhrahma Rishi narrate the entire Bhagavatam. And what is the end result? The end result is by the 7th day, Parikshit goes into Samadhi. He leaves the body. Before Takshaka comes and bites Parikshit, Parikshit has already entered to the realm of bliss. See? Wherever the surrender is, blessing descends. In the same way, we find the story of Dhruva also. He is also confused. He doesn't know what to do. At that time, Naradji comes, guides him, blesses him with Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And then in 6 months, Dhruva gets the darshan of the Lord. So this is something which we have to keep in mind, that if we have to be truly blessed, one thing to be done is surrendering for ego. This is one thing which Bhagavan expects from every one of us. There's a beautiful episode in Bhagavatam. Bhishmacharya is lying on the bed of arrows. And that time, that Uttarayana time has almost come. It is at that time that all the Pandavas, along with Bhagavan Krishna, they come. All the Pandavas, they sit at the feet of Bhishmacharya. And when Bhishma looks at them, when Bhishma sees them, his eyes become filled with tears. His heart becomes filled with love for Pandavas. There he says, is the way he calls. He says, O Vipra Dharma Achyuta Ashrayaha. This is lovingly he addresses Pandavas as Vipra Dharma Achyuta Ashraya. O the ones who have taken refuge in Vipra, Dharma and Achyuta. See, Vipra means holy men, saints and saints. Dharma means righteousness, and Achyuta means Bhagavan. So you are the ones who have always taken refuge in these three: holy men, righteousness and Bhagavan. Actually, all the three mean one only. So much of love Bhishma had for Pandavas that when he sees them filled with the emotion of affection, the emotion of tenderness, eyes become filled. And that is the reason why Pandavas had always taken refuge in holy men, righteousness, in Bhagavan, and that is the reason why you will find all the time Bhagavan protected them. Pandavas had to face so many difficulties, so many challenges in their life, so many atrocities, so many injustice. All the time it was Bhagavan who was always with them, protected. This attitude is something that I am practicing. If we seek the blessings of the Lord, always surrender unto, always cultivate the attitude of blessedness. I'm sure you all must be knowing the story of Ekalavya. A classic example of how when we bow down to our teacher, even if the teacher doesn't want to give us knowledge. Dronacharya did not want to give knowledge to Ekalavya. Ekalavya approaches Dronacharya. Dronacharya says, no, I will not teach you. Go away. Ekalavya was sent back. Then what happened? Ekalavya, he made a mud statue of Dronacharya. And then every day he would worship that statue with an attitude of humility, with reverence. Every day he would worship that statue and then he would practice. He would practice Dhanurvidya, whatever he knew. So see that attitude. So this story says that you need not worry about the external environment, situations. You don't have to worry. You have to see only one thing. Is your attitude pure? Is there egolessness in you? Are you humble? Have you bowed down? If this is your attitude, then nobody can prevent you from gaining whatever you want. This story is a classic example for that. Ekalavya grew to such an extent that he became even better than the best disciple of Dronacharya. Arjuna himself says that. When Ekalavya shoots some 5-6 arrows into the mouth of that dog, barking dog, and the arrows are shot in such a way that arrows have closed the mouth of the dog but without harming the dog. When Arjuna sees this, he was stunned. Who did this? And that's how they come to know there is this boy called Ekalavya who is practicing. What I'm trying to say is, when our attitude is that of egolessness, blessings, whatever we want to gain, knowledge comes, guidance comes, strength comes, courage comes, provided our attitude is attitude of in all our scriptures you will find Indians had attained tremendous heights in the past. It is said that India was the very epicenter of knowledge. That's why the name Bharata, the country which revels in Bha. Rata means to revel. Bha means light, the light of knowledge. The country which revels in the light of knowledge. That's what the meaning of Bharat. Bharata means that. It is this country where the most ancient universities, Nalanda and Takshashila, most ancient universities appeared in this land. It was a land where all the others used to come to learn. Great scholars from different parts of the world used to come to learn from India. Now the question is, how did India gain this knowledge? In every field, Indians were, whether it is astrology, whether it is astronomy, whether it is mathematics or physics or chemistry or medicine, every field, Indians were. The question is, how did they become master? It is because of this attitude. The attitude of humility, the attitude of reverence. They revered Mother Nature, they worshipped Mother Nature. And through this attitude of worship, through this attitude of reverence with all humility, they approached nature, and Mother Nature in turn revealed all her secrets to these saints. That's how they have become master. Now just imagine, these saints and sages, they never had these modern equipments. How did they gain this knowledge about astronomy, the stars or the planets? How did they gain? In all these Indian scriptures, it was already there that earth is not flat, it is round. That it is not the earth, the sun which is going around the earth, it is the earth which is going around the sun. All this information you will find in our scriptures. How did they know it? So this is the truth. With a pure heart, when we approach Mother Nature and when we sincerely seek the secrets, Mother Nature reveals. That attitude is very important. The saints and sages, it is said that every plant has some medicinal value. Every plant has a medicinal value. So these saints and sages, they approach this plant. Lovingly they ask, what is it worth for? What is that medicinal value which you have? And it is said that these plants would reveal, because Bhagavan only is there in the heart of everyone, in living and non-living being. So once you are able to tune to that Lord through your egolessness, the secrets of nature, everything is. So it is said that these plant secrets, their medicinal value, and these rishis, they would put it down. It is said this is how the Ayurveda is formed. We are discussing about the glory of surrender. We are discussing about glory of egolessness. More and more we become egoless, the more and more Bhagavan functions through us. We become a medium in the Lord, and Bhagavan functions through us. To the extent we can empty ourselves, that extent Bhagavan is able to. They give this beautiful example of flute. So he said, why Bhagavan Krishna keeps this flute near his lips? So the answer is, it is because the flute has emptied itself. And because the flute has emptied itself, Bhagavan is able to play his music. If he can do that, it is the most blessed thing which we can do it for ourselves, and it will also be in turn bless the world, because we become a medium, we become an instrument in the hands of I'm sure you must have heard of the great scientist, great mathematician, Srinivasa Ramanujan. He is considered to be one of the greatest mathematicians the world has ever known. Srinivasa Ramanujan. It's almost 100 years now after his passing away, but even today, the great mathematicians are working on his complex equations and theorems, which he has written hundreds of years back, 100 years back. Even today, they are not able to understand what it is. The research is going on, even today. So he was asked, Ramanujan was asked, how did you come to these theorems and conclusions, these complicated mathematical formulas? How did you arrive at it? Now, Srinivasa was a great worshipper of Divine Mother. He said, I just chant my mother's name and she would reveal these mathematically. I have no role to play. I am just a medium. Through this medium, it is Mother Goddess just revealing these secrets of. Ramanujan was such a person, he used to worship Bhagavan through mathematics. That was the kind of person he was. So he said, this mathematics is nothing but my worship unto Bhagavan. I am not interested in these equations, etc. Because they take me to God, I am interested. Otherwise, I have no interest. See, to the extent we can empty ourselves, to that extent Bhagavan's grace and blessing. This is the one thing we have to do. What is the one thing to be done? Surrendering. When we do it, Bhagavan will guide us. Whatever work has to be done, he will get it done through us. Once a lawyer approached Mahatma Gandhi. So that was the time when Gandhi used to have prayer meetings mornings and evenings. In his ashram, in Sabarmati ashram, prayer meetings were held morning and in the evening. So this lawyer came and asked, Gandhiji, Bapuji, why do you waste your time in these prayers? How much of time is wasted? Instead, if you can save this time, instead if you can just skip this prayer, then a lot more time will be available for you to do the service of nation, to serve the nation. How much time will you save? Why don't you skip this prayer? Gandhiji looked at him, asked him, what is your profession? He said, I am a lawyer. Gandhiji asked, dear sir, Why don't you skip your breakfast, lunch and dinner? At least half an hour is gone in that. Why don't you skip? If you can skip, then so much of time is saved. And with that much of time, you can take more cases. More cases means more money. You can become richer. Why don't you do that? Here said, Babaji, what are you saying? Unless we eat food, from where will we get the energy from? Food is the energy source. Unless we eat food, where will I get energy? Gandhiji said, prayer is so much of service we are able to do to the country is only because of the strength gained through. You are in tune with the Lord, are strengthened by the Lord. It is this strength from the Lord which makes you capable of facing the world, facing the worldly problem. Prayer is my food. Just like you cannot avoid food, the same way I cannot avoid food. This is the answer given by Gandhiji. To the extent we become humble, to the extent we become God's grace and blessings, one thing which we have to do there. The great saint Swami Shivanji Maharaj of Divine Life Society used to bow down to everything and everyone. He used to bow down to birds, he used to bow down to plants, animals, to see Bhagwan in them. To such an extent, he used to bow down to his own disciples also. And it is said in his biography, there used to be a competition. Who bows down to whom first? The Guru to the Shishya or the Shishya to the Guru? Very interesting things are mentioned. Guru is competing to touch the feet of Shishyas. The Shishyas are competing to touch the feet of When we understand how important is bowing down, how important is being egoless, then we compete with each other, becoming humble, in eradicating, going down to others. In fact, our entire culture, the Indian culture, is the culture of bowing down. At a very young age itself, we are taught to bow down. Bow down to our parents, bow down to our teachers, bow down in front of elders. Why is it that the whole culture is designed to bow down? Whole culture is designed to bow down because it is this bowing down is the source of all bliss and blissness. Therefore, at a very young age itself, our culture trains us to bow down. There is nothing called this, what you call, the Western style of good morning, good evening, sir. No, bowing down. Gurukula, children used to bow down in front of the teacher. Every day, children are supposed to bow down in front of their parents. Supposed to bow down to their feet. This culture is there. Such a wonderful culture. Bowing down culture. And our greeting is also, it is namaste, namaha te, prostration to you, prostration. Again it is bowing down. Everywhere we bow down, we are trained to bow down because this bowing down brings in all auspiciousness, blessings. There is a very famous musician, American musician, his name is Roland Hayes. When he used to have his concert, Thousands of people used to attend. So somebody came and asked, "Sir, how is it that you are able to attract so many people? Everybody is touched by your music. How are you able to attract?" So Roland said, "Just before the concert, I go to one corner and pray. And sincerely pray to the Lord. Oh Lord, may Roland perish. May Roland perish. One, Lord, may I disappear from the scene. May you take over. You take over and may you put your music to this instrument. One, this way, may you attract the heart of listeners to you. So may this body be an instrument in taking your children on. In this way, may this body be, may Roland perish. May not be there at all. You, through your music, may you attract the hearts of them. Thus, take them. This is what Roland said. Therefore, before every concert I go, I pray for some time, invoke His grace, and after that, Bhagavan takes over. Therefore, please don't give any credit to me. All credit goes to Bhagavan. This is true in every field. To the extent we see ourselves, that extent Bhagavan fills us. Then brings blessings not only to ourselves, brings blessing to the whole. This topic will continue tomorrow also. There are some more sessions to be made in this topic. See? Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
ज्ञान कहाँ प्रेमनवा बिना ये ज्ञान कहाँ प्रेमनवा ज्ञान बिना ये ध्येय अधूरा ज्ञान बिना ये ध्येय अधूरा हरि चरण कमल कैसे पाऊं चरण कमल कैसे पाऊं बिना ये ज्ञान कहाँ रे मनवा बिना ये ज्ञान कहाँ रे मनवा काम क्रोध मद लोभ मोह मिल काम क्रोध मद लोभ मोह मिल अहंकार है। जीव का दुश्मन काम क्रोध मद, लोभ मोह मिल अहंकार है। जीव का दुश्मन भक्ति विनय से, सेवा भाव से, भक्ति विनय से, सेवा भाव से जानो ये गुरु महिमा। रे मनवा जानो ये गुरु महिमा। रे मन पहचानो ये गुरु महिमा। रे मनवा हरि चरण कमल कैसे पाऊं बिना, ये ज्ञान कहाँ। रे मन गुरु बिना ये ज्ञान कहाँ।